Hello everyone and welcome to another video tutorial. Today I wanted to cover the subject of perspective and why it matters so much. And if you've been doing my exercises so far, maybe you found that answer, maybe you haven't. But I wanted to cover it in depth anyway today. So, perspective. I'm going to be drawing along while I do this because why not? Perspective is important both in life and in drawing. Get it? It's a little bit of a esoteric, thingy-majiggy, philosophical quandary. Anyway, perspective gives our art a lot more depth than it normally would. Even if you're doing abstract art or art that doesn't really require it, knowing about it can help a ton with understanding how to compose. Perspective is in large part to do with composition, and if you can understand perspective, you can learn how to break the rules of perspective or use it in creative sort of ways. What I tend to find, though, is a lot of creatives or artists in particular don't really like to think about rules when doing art. In fact, art is the abnegation of rules according to many. And while that is true, the only way I feel like you can defy a rule is if you already know the rules. You can't defy a rule you don't know. And in doing your own art, you might be obeying a lot of rules, and then therefore your statement is kind of out of whack, right? Anyway, I'm not going to travel too far into the philosophical, even though I want to. I might just throw that somewhere else. So, back to why perspective is important. It can help in both imaginative drawings and in realistic drawings. What I tend to find I hate the most when I'm drawing or when I'm learning anything is if there is an arbitrary measure of something. So that means that there is something there, but that it's there because it's there and there's no reason for it to be there, or like the measurement is kind of hard to follow. That's why I have a hard time with music, because I find beat kind of arbitrary, and most people to say use your heartbeat, which would usually work if your heartbeat didn't also accelerate at the same time or didn't change. Like the rhythm of beat to me doesn't seem to have a very well said consistent notion. It just is relative to itself. So in art, that's also true with a lot of things that we do, but perspective, in my opinion, helps a lot with trying to figure out the relationship between objects, or the relationship between lines, or the relationship between anything. And once you can know that sort of things, then you can always just break those rules so long as you know why you're doing it. And I think some of the best artists know how to do that, either intuitively or they know it logically. And I think there is also a bit of a myth around people, like artists just being free-flowing. There's a lot of thought that goes into it. Sometimes we're just not able to think about it. That's also partly why I make these videos, is because I get to clarify my thoughts on how things work and how drawings work and all that sort of fun stuff. Oops. Anyway, so going back to why perspective is important again, because I intend to ramble here. If you don't like opinion pieces, you should probably just stop here. Or if you just kind of want to go on with exercises, watch my previous videos. But I wanted to cover this today because a lot of people do ask, why perspective? Why is it important? I don't think I would be as skillful as I am now, and I'm not even that skillful in my opinion. I could really push it further. I couldn't be as skillful if I didn't have a set of rules to follow, and perspective is in the end just a set of rules to follow. And once I can follow those rules, I know how to break them, and I know how to manipulate them, or I know how to use them, and I know the situations to use them. And they're not rules that dictate how I draw, they're just rules that help me compose things, because there's a lot of times that I hear artists talk about that they don't know where to start, they don't know how to start, they don't know they can't motivate themselves. They have trouble getting themselves going to draw and stuff like that. And the big reason for that is because there's too many options. So this narrows down the options, and that doesn't necessarily restrict your creativity. It just puts it within a box, so it's easier for your brain to manage. And I think that's super important. And if you can do that, then you're going to have an easier time drawing, because at the end, all you want to be doing is drawing. If you want to be an artist professionally, casually, or whatever, if you want to take it seriously, or if you want to take it as a hobby, you got to be drawing all the time. If you're not drawing all the time, then your skills are going to lapse, and like nothing is irreparable, but you won't get as far as you could be as if you tried every single day. So knowing these rules can help give you ideas at times as well, or give you restrictions to put yourself under, to challenge yourself, to push you harder, or can give you an understanding that you never had before. Sometimes people don't want to do things because they seem too hard in the past, but haven't realized how much they've come along. And doing new things, trying perspective, can be a great way to very much improve what you know about yourself. It's how we become self-aware and all that sort of stuff. But before I trail off in that direction too much, I did want to talk about... what else did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about perspective still. And that it's okay to have rules. It's okay to learn from them, and it's okay to try new things. And even if you don't like it at your very core, knowing about them, knowing that you have a tool, I guess that's where I'm coming from. Perspective should be used as a tool rather than a rule at times. Perspective is a rule, but using it as a tool is the better way to think about it if you're creative and you don't like to be constrained to things. It's a way for you to basically frame a lot of your work and give yourself some options when you're trying to figure out, how can I make this look better? How can I start compositions? How can I put things together? Why doesn't this look right? Why does this look wrong? What's wrong with my composition? Why doesn't it have as much impact? And knowing about perspective and using the different types of perspectives and understanding that can really help out a lot. And then for a lot of people in the professional field, you need to your work needs to be as accurate as possible. If you ever want to be in the professional field, they need you to be as accurate as possible and as least confusing with your imagery as possible. So knowing about perspective there is pretty much tantamount. And I want to say it shouldn't be this intimidating thing where you have to like learn so many things about it. It's very quite simple. I think just a lot of people explain it very poorly. And a lot of times people try to explain the theory behind it rather than just the execution of it, because I believe it's easier to work backwards. Learn the execution first and then figure out why that is. Because sometimes you'll find out that everybody is wrong. And then when you can find that out, then you have something special for yourself. I'm going to keep rambling if I just keep going on. So I might as well just end the video here. In the end, the choice is yours. You are the artist. But I wanted to give you some perspective on my perspective on perspective. And I think if you ever want to be like taking this seriously, you do have to learn this. It is an important step. It will help you out a lot. And try and find, if not my videos, and videos that kind of explain things with great knowledge, understanding, and can answer any question you ever have about it. And I will try to do that for you guys. And so if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I do want to help you guys out, because when I help you guys, it helps me out. When I teach, I learn. And when you guys learn, I feel happy too. So thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Please have an amazing day.